Hey, good morning. I'm Mark Miller, pastor at Oak Ridge Baptist Church, and welcome once more to a journey to the cross and to an empty tomb. As we're reading through the Gospel of John here in this, what is now Holy Week, leading up to the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. We're in chapter 14 of John, and in the 14th chapter, there is this discourse, this time that Jesus is spending with his disciples in an upper room. Judas had already left, slipped out into the evening to go and really set things up so he could betray Jesus and arrange a way for the soldiers to come and arrest him later in the garden. And Jesus had been talking to the disciples about a lot of things, and they were troubled, and rightfully so. He'd been telling them how he would be handed over. He talked to them about how he was going to die. He talked to them about how he was going to raise 3 days later. They just never quite got it. And in that upper room, he started talking to them about how one would betray them, or betray Jesus, rather. And it really troubled the disciples. That's when Jesus told them, hey, don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust also in me. And told them that in the times of difficulty and hardship, trouble, hey, we can trust in the Lord. And then Jesus taught. There's a lot of teachings in this upper room. A lot of things it seemed he wanted his disciples to know prior to his crucifixion. And one of the primary things that Jesus taught on in the upper room was the Holy Spirit, right? He taught upon the work and the person of the Holy Spirit. A whole lot of the teachings of the Holy Spirit from the Gospels come right here in the Gospel, in these few chapters. They didn't really understand a lot of what he was saying about the Holy Spirit. And, that's understandable because they had not yet received the Holy Spirit, right? You and I, if we're a follower of Jesus, we understand because we've received the Spirit. And yet they were on the other side of that time because the Spirit had not yet been sent. That's going to come when Jesus ascends to the right hand of the Father in heaven. But again, you and I, we get it. We understand. Listen to what some of the things that Jesus said about the Holy Spirit. Jesus said, for example, if you love me, you will obey what I command, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another counselor to be with you forever, the Spirit of truth. He would again say in the chapter, but the counselor, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things, and he will remind you of everything that I have said to you. Sometimes in the Gospels, what you'll see is a reference to the Spirit. You'll see the word, like we read here, the counselor. Sometimes we'll see the word comforter. Other times the word advocate. You think, why so many names, right? And it all comes really from one primary Greek term, and it's the word paraclete. Paraclete. All right? And that literally means one who comes alongside, or to come alongside. And so when you get that, he's saying one who comes alongside, the Spirit of the Lord comes alongside us to teach us, comes alongside us to comfort us, comes alongside us to counsel us, comes alongside to be our advocate. And so that's why you get those many terms. But I always think, because I live here on the coast, I have one of the more beautiful illustrations of the Holy Spirit. I've shared it before. Because when I drive over the Harbor Bridge, leading from Corpus Christi right over here to Portland, we go over it, and what you see is a lot of large ships coming into the harbor. And those ships, the larger ships, when they get a certain distance from there, there's these smaller tugboats that come alongside the larger ships, and they're the ones that are guiding the ship. They're the ones that are leading the ship, helping them to navigate the more narrow ways, and then kind of bringing them up in when they can dock into the harbor. Those tugboats come alongside the larger ships to guide them through this time. And I think that's a beautiful picture of the Holy Spirit. He comes alongside us. He lives in us. He dwells in us, right? If we're the believer and follower of Christ. But he comes alongside us in that way, and he guides us, and he leads us into truth. So as you're reading the 14th chapter, think about the person and the work of the Holy Spirit. And I'm wondering if there's something that you just need to ask the Lord today. Thank him for the gift of the Holy Spirit. But ask him to come alongside you. Maybe to provide some comfort that you need right now. Maybe to give you wisdom or counsel that you need right now. Maybe to guide you into the truth of a decision you need to make. He comes alongside us. He is the Holy Spirit, the one who comes alongside side. Peter will say later in one of my favorite verses, 2 Peter 1, verse 3, that his divine power, that is the Holy Spirit, has given us everything we need for life, everything we need for godliness. He supplied all that you need to live a godly life in the person and the power of the Holy Spirit. Check it out. See what Jesus has to say further. And let's learn more about him on this journey to the cross and to the empty tomb.